Welcome to All Things Food. I'm John Woods, and I'm really excited today because I have a Southern classic. Everybody's going to love it. It reminds me of my childhood. Probably will remind you as well. It's smothered steak, and it's great because I have my homemade, I have my green beans here, my mashed potatoes. This is a real meal, one pot. Everybody's going to love it. First step is we're going to season our cube steak, and you can do this any way that you want to. We have simple salt and pepper up here, garlic salt if you want to use that, or Lowry seasoned salt. Anything you want to do, tell me how you season your cube steak. All-purpose seasoning. We're going to take that right over here, get it all seasoned up real good. Today I'm going to just use a little bit of pepper. And you don't need to add a lot of seasoning because we're going to go back in a bit and we're going to add a lot more seasoning to this dish. Try a little bit of garlic salt today. I'm going to just press that in real good. Now our skillet's heating up and we're going to be ready to cook these things. We're not going to cook them all the way because we're going to come back and finish them off in a little bit. It looks like our skillet is good and hot. I'm going to take our cube steak and I'm going to put the seasoned side down right there. And listen for that sizzle. Remember, we don't want to overcrowd our skillet. If you have several of these, you're going to have to cook them in batches. But why don't we want to overcrowd? Because if you overcrowd and put everything close together, it's going to produce steam. And you don't want the steam because it's going to hinder the Maillard reaction. Right now, it looks like we're good and brown on both sides. I'm going to turn my heat way down. We're going to take these out and just put them over here on a plate and set them aside for a while. Because now we're going to get on to making the real good part about this video and this recipe are all these other ingredients that I'm going to add. I'm going to show you a little hack now with tomato paste that'll help you in the kitchen. If you don't know this already, it's worth knowing because we all struggle with trying to open the can, and we put the spoon in there and we try to get everything out. If you open up both sides of the can, and there's nothing special or new about this, it's not original. You can open up both sides of the can. You can take the lid off of one side, just take that bottom there and push it on through. That way you use every bit of your tomato paste and you don't have all that waste. And I'll save that. I'm going to use what I need today, but see how simple that is? This is cooking smarter, not harder. Here's another little tomato paste hack I'm going to show you, and this is really good if you want to develop a lot of flavor in the dish. Now I've turned my heat down real low here, and I'm going to put that tomato paste in there. And we're going to just kind of cook it for a few minutes until it gets a rich mahogany look. And that's going to really add a lot of flavor to this. You kind of cook this like a roux almost. It's going to take a few minutes until you develop that flavor and that look. Be sure you have your heat on kind of low and have a little bit of oil in there. That one little trick will really help bring a lot more flavor. And I use this in a lot of dishes whenever I use tomato paste. I always like to cook it a little bit just to release some of those flavors, and it really helps the dish a lot. Now, what I'm going to do is take my julienne onions, and if you haven't seen my video on how to cut julienne onions or whatever, be sure to watch it. I'll put a link up there. We're going to go ahead and add those in, and we're going to cook those until they become nice and tender. Now remember, I have my heat on kind of a low, medium heat because I don't want to get things burning. I've cooked this until those onions are nice and tender here. And this is something I don't think I've ever seen anyone do on any video with this recipe. Adding that tomato paste like that. And so that's worth the price of admission today. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Now we're going to add our bell peppers, green and red, nice and pretty. We're going to cook those just a bit until they're tender. The next ingredient we're going to add, and this is totally optional, you can use it or not. Some people don't like mushrooms. We're going to add our mushrooms in there. And what I like to do when I add those mushrooms, I like to put a little bit of salt in there just to help them sweat down a little bit. Be sure to stir this every once in a while because you don't want to burn that tomato paste. I'm going to add my minced garlic here. The reason I added that last is I don't want it to burn. Put that in there. Now we're going to come in with our garlic powder, about a teaspoon of it. A little bit of onion powder. You see why I didn't really heavily season that steak a minute ago? A little smoked paprika. And a little bit of crushed thyme. And that's going to develop a lot of flavor in this dish. If you think it's getting away from you, just add a little bit of your beef broth in there. Loosen it up a little bit. It kind of deglazes that pan some. Oop, lost a man there. Let that cook. Let all those flavors meld together. Another little seasoning that I'm going to add in there is the Worcestershire sauce. And put a little bit according to taste, maybe about a teaspoon or two. Not going to hurt a bit. Okay, what I have here is now my flour, because we're going to make a roux here, and I'm going to put in about, say, 2 tablespoons of flour. Sprinkle it in that because that's going to help thicken up our gravy. Cook that about 2 or 3 minutes to get that flour taste out of there. All right, we're looking good. The flour is cooked down a little bit. Everything's nice. See how nice and thick everything is there? That's what you're looking for. So we're going to make a really good gravy out of this. Now I've got about 4 cups of beef broth here. We're going to add that in just slowly, a little bit at a time, and stir it in as we're adding it. You don't have to do this very fast. You just want to work it all in nice and slow. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to add a little bit of beef base to it, rather than bouillon. That's totally optional. Again, I'm a fanatic with this stuff. Put about a tablespoon in there. It's got a little salt in it. It's going to really enrichen our gravy. Here's something that's totally optional. You can do it if you want to. I'm not going to do it today because I want that rich, dark gravy. If you want to lighten it up a little bit and make it real creamy, add you a little bit of whipping cream, maybe about 1/2 cup to a cup. But we want to bring this up to a boil, and once it comes up to a boil, we're going to reduce it down to a simmer, and then I'll show you what happens next. Our gravy's nice and thick. I'm going to take our steak that we seared off a little bit ago that's still raw. We're going to just gently work it down in there. This has been simmering about 35-40 minutes. It's good and tender, and I'm going to go ahead and we're going to serve it up. And I've got my green beans here, and I've got a great video I'm going to put up here about this, how to make canned green beans taste like they came fresh out of the garden, and homemade mashed potatoes. And now it's time to plate this thing up. Let's reach right in here. Get us a nice piece of meat. Wasn't that a great Southern classic? So easy, so flavorful. One pot again, feed the entire family, very economical. You're gonna love this. Be sure to like this video today if you haven't. It really helps our channel. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. You know, that's hard to get out sometimes. But anyway, thanks for watching. I'm John Woods with All Things Food, the channel where we not only love to cook, but we cook to love. Love cooking you some smothered steak this week.